Hi, this is Chris German from the Apartment Dealer, and with me today is Mr. Thomas Harkins. Mr. Thomas Harkins just actually sold an 8-unit property in the city of La Puente, and he's decided to sit down with us to share a little bit about his background, experience, and so forth. So, Mr. Harkins, thank you for being with me.
My pleasure.
Just to give the audience some perspective on your history as a multifamily owner, I know that actually your family had owned the property for some time, and then you and your siblings inherited it. So given your parents' length of ownership, did you actually grow up helping on the property and assisting, or what was your experience as the ownership side?
Yeah, my father bought it in 1976. I got out of the military, he bought it in 75. I got out of the military in 74, and I actually lived in one of the apartments for a couple of years and helped him with maintenance and that. Throughout the years, I would help out periodically with him on the maintenance, and then he passed away and about 15 years ago. My mom took over, and she didn't want anything to do with that.
Sure.
So my older sister and I helped take care of the place. We finally got a property manager, and said enough is enough.
Sure.
And then. My mom passed away this past December, and I had a conversation with all our sibs, and we said we just don't want to be apartment managers anymore. So that was when we made the decision to sell the place as the executor. It fell to me to sell it. Actually, kind of lucky. We were going over the mail that came to my mom's house, and here was one of those apartment dealer flyers that came in the mail, and I said, well, what the heck, I'm already talking with somebody else, but it's best to go with a second source.
Sure.
And just, to verify. So that's how we ended up meeting.
Sure. So with that, so we've just made each other's acquaintance actually in March, and that piece you're referring to was the advertisement for the educational luncheon that we do for owners at that time. And so we actually started out as your second source, if you will. Probably you were engaging us to just confirm what you had already heard about what the value was. And
I just, just to me it seemed reasonable that I would get some. I had no intention of using you at first. I didn't. I was just going to back. Here's a guy who I was working with. I was going to just, verify that everything he was saying was accurate, and then move forward.
Sure. And so usually the courting process, if you will, between broker and owner is much longer, right? Because we essentially meet in March. A few weeks later, you decide to sell and you choose us as your services. But usually the courting process is much longer. So what was it about our services, what we were offering? How did we move from second to, I guess, first place, and why did you choose us? And
Probably several reasons. One, I'd made my mind up to sell. I was 100% in the market to find somebody and process it. We talked a little bit about the person that I was considering going with, and I kind of liked the fact that you didn't diss him or anything. You just kind of said, well, here's what we can offer, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You were talking about marketing plan. I was not getting that from the other person that I was talking to. And it, in the back of my mind, it kind of dawned on me that, this guy must be doing some marketing, because the way we got in contact with each other was a piece of marketing.
Sure.
Literature. And then the other thing is you just seem to have your pulse on what the market was like. I don't know how to quantify that. It was just a gut feeling.
Sure.
Here's somebody that knows what he's talking about.
With that in mind, from an owner's perspective, their greatest fear is that they hire a broker, and he was a really good salesman, sells them into a listing, but then after it's time to market and what have you, they see that, he overpromised and underdelivered. So now, having gone through the entire process with the Apartment Dealer brand, from listing, marketing, the escrow and the closing, what was your impression of the experience and the services offered?
It was very, very positive. When we were talking, I figured, okay, you're going to put out all the brochures that you promised, and that I kind of knew that would go out as a mailing, and some of the other, I don't remember all the details, but some of the marketing things. I just kind of figured, okay, he's going to do that. I asked you a question, how long do you think it will take to close? And you said month, maybe 2 months. And I thought, okay, here's the salesman coming out in him. I was kind of skeptical. In the back of my mind, you kept talking about, there was a lot of money floating around the market right now. And I said, well, I don't know, maybe it will, but I'm settling in for the long haul. It's going to take a long time. And I don't remember, was it 3 weeks later?
Probably 3 weeks or so.
3 weeks later, you called up, hi, I have 3 offers for you. And I was shocked, to put it mildly. I did like the way the first 2 offers weren't great offers. I liked the way you sat down and went through each one, what was good, what was not so good about it. And then with the third offer, the one we finally ended up going with, you sat down, you explained everything that wanted to happen. I thought it was, in the back of my mind, you said, well, they want a quick escrow, like 30 days or something. I don't remember exactly. And I kind of said in the back of my mind, great, I want to get out
right
now. So
sure.
But I appreciated the fact that everything that you said, you were able to deliver on. That just meant a lot.
Sure. And so some of the marketing items that Mr. Harkins is referring to is, of course, we did standard mailers, which isn't much different than what a lot of other brokers are doing, except we integrate social media. We do videos of the properties themselves. And because of our reach within the market, selling properties in 2 counties, the end buyer who ended up buying the property was actually a buyer who initially we came across because they had interest in a building we were selling in the city of Ontario, funny enough. So all the way from Ontario to La Puente, they end up paying full price. And that's what I share with a lot of owners, is that people who own in that specific, in this case, La Puente market, sometimes they know too much for their own good. They know the tenant base, they know the rents, and so they're not willing to stretch their pocketbook for the price. But yet, through our marketing, we find somebody from outside the area, sees the property, and because of their interpretations of that location, they're willing to pay the price, and that's really where the end buyer came from. And so again, I'm glad that you were happy that we delivered on what we said we would, and the time frames and what have you. Maybe, from the owner's perspective, for those who are contemplating a sale right now, or contemplating representation, now having gone through the whole process, what words of wisdom do you have to share for them as they go through this decision process to sell, not sell, and whom to choose for the representation?
Yeah, 2 things. One, I would contact multiple brokers just to make sure that you're getting a consistent story, especially on the potential value of the property. The second thing, the initial broker we were considering going with, we've known for quite a while. There was a certain emotional attachment there. When it finally came down to making the decision, I had to take a step back out all the emotional, and say, who's going to be the best person to be able to market this, to get it in front of somebody, and then most importantly, being able to close it.
Sure. So, all right, Mr. Harkins,
okay.
Well, thank you for your time. I hope this short video excerpt was helpful for you, as if you are contemplating a sale. If you're just curious to know what your building's worth, curious to know what's going on in the marketplace, you can refer to our previous content. Please contact our offices. As Mr. Harkins has suggested, our intent is just to ensure you have the right information as you go through and deliberate what is the next move within moving your financial legacy forward. And as we wrap up this video, I always say, I wish you positive cash flow, tenants who behave, much protection from Uncle Sam. And I'm going to add, since the state is contemplating statewide rent control and forcing you to accept Section 8 tenants, and if you haven't heard about this, please contact our offices. I'm also going to wish you protection from the overreach of government. Chris German from The Apartment Dealer, thank you.